Bono money bo. Makana po money bo. Yemme. Igbo amaka. Igbo amaka. If you see me call me money bo. Makana po money bo.
Good day, listeners. My name is Chudi Emechita. You are once again welcome to our very, very scintillating program, the one that you are going to have every reason to watch every single week. And we're talking of none other program than the Out Diaspora. Out Diaspora, this is the second edition of it. It is a program that is aimed to address the needs and the peculiarity of the Igbo man in Nigeria. And not just that, this program will try to discuss humanity, discuss people, discuss issues, politics, everything that concerns our people and our race. As we, that's why we captioned it Speak Out Diaspora. But we're not going to discuss only the things that happen in diaspora. We're going to zero down to our where we come from, Nigeria, and discuss more about it. For today's program, listeners, we're going to be discussing the Igbos in Nigerian politics. That's going to be our topic for today. And to do justice to this topic, we have very, very, very well seasoned people and who are Igbos, to speak. We chose them because we are very, very confident that they know how to address these issues. I'll start with in no particular order. The person who is a member of the Igbo Union. By the way, I've not forgotten, I'm going to say to you that this program you are listening to today is courtesy of the Igbo Union Dublin in Ireland. And so it will be proper to say that the financial secretary of this association, incumbent financial secretary, is here to lend his voice to this topic. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the studio, Mr. Ima.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Ima. I'll come back to you because I believe you have a wealth of knowledge in this on this topic. And they say in my land, Igbo land, there's this very, very proverb that I always remember each time my dad used to say this to me. He says that when the big cow gets loose, you don't go after it with a tiny rope. You have to go with a very big rope, because if you go with a tiny rope, this cow might escape again. So for this reason today, we are bringing a man of timber and caliber. He is the immediate past Onyendu of the Igbo Union, and he's a business consultant and he's a businessman, and he's a very popular gentleman, handsome. And but I will not say too much about him. I will have opportunity for everybody to say more about themselves. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm talking of none other than Chief Greg Ume.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome to this program, sir. And of course, the media consultant in our midst, he was here last week, and I knew he was going to do well, but I didn't know that he had that depth of knowledge. And he's the man I will give a new title of Ihen Kwaba soon, but we'll go into that later on. Ladies and gentlemen, let's not take your time. I am talking of none other than the editor-in-chief of Africa World, Mr. Okorie Okachuku. You're welcome to the program.
It's my pleasure to be here once again.
Thank you very much. Because Okorie has been here before, he's now a regular face, I would ask Mr. Imo, please, if you don't mind, to tell us a little bit more about yourself, if you choose to.
Thank you very much, listeners, and my colleagues here. My name is Chedoze Emmanuel. I'm from Amori in Kano local government area of Enugu State. I've been here for a very long time in Ireland, and a very prominent member of Igbo Union Dublin here. It's a pleasure that we have this kind of forum where we can air our views regarding issues back home. And I think our contributions here will definitely help our people back home to be able to be part of the political process back home. And I think our people have not done well in the past, and I think if we encourage our people to be actively involved in what we're doing politically back home, we'll be able to achieve what other tribes have achieved.
We'll actually come to that. Thank you very much. You're already preempting where we are heading, but that's beautiful. Also, the immediate past Onyendu of the Igbo Union. Please, could you give us another brief introduction of yourself?
Thank you so much, Mr. Moderator. My name is Chief Gregory Chuks Ume. I'm from Omuamao, in the Umba South local government area of Anambra State.
Thank you very much. I welcome you in a special way. And I will go straight. Let's fire the first sound for this program because of time. I want the person who has been here before, I would say has a little edge and experience to take the very, very first hit now. So I'm going to ask you straight on, how do Igbos perceive themselves, or how do they read themselves in the affair, in the political affair or political landscape of Nigeria? I'm talking to Okachukwu Okorie now.
Thank you for that question. How the Igbos perceive themselves in the political affairs of Nigeria. That question is like asking someone about what he thinks he knows best. But nevertheless, the Igbos see themselves as a very strong pillar in the Nigerian Federation. If we look back to constitutional development in Nigeria, we might begin to feel the impact of the Igbos from the amalgamation constitution in 1913 that was promulgated in January 1st, 1940, which brought the Southern and Northern Protectorate together, bringing up Nigeria. That was the first constitutional development, first constitution of Nigeria. Then we look at the 1922 constitution, which we call the Clifford's Constitution. Then we have, from there we move to the 1946 constitution, the Richards Constitution. Then we have the 1951 constitution, the Macpherson's Constitution. Then we have the 1954 constitution that ushered the independence, the Littleton Constitution. Then we have another constitution, which is 1960, the one that got into, it was just like the 1999 constitution. It got into effect in 1960 when Nigeria got independence. Then Nigeria continued in its constitutional development. In 1963, the Republican Constitution came into effect because Nigeria became a republic in 1963. From there to Nigeria continued the crisis of the 1964 elections continued to shake Nigeria, and the subsequent civil war. After the Civil War, Nigeria continued in its constitutional development. In 1979, where they now changed from the parliamentary system of government to the American system of government, which is presidential, 1979. But it was botched. That Second Republic was botched, military kicked out. Then, and Nigeria continued in its constitutional development. During the time of Babangida Ibrahim Badamasi Babangida in 1993, they attempted to, actually, they got another constitution, but they couldn't last until the 1999 constitution, which we are now using today, though there have been 2 amendments by the last administration. So looking at how the Igbos perceive themselves with this, and we look at what the British brought in, regionalization. Britain built Nigeria on 3 big tribes, the Fulani controlling the north with their Hausa vassals, which they've controlled over a century before the arrival of the British people. The Igbos controlling the eastern region, and the Yorubas controlling the west. But in all these, the Igbos were at the forefront, with the demise of Herbert Macaulay. Nnamdi Azikiwe took up the gauntlet and led in the most tribalized, nationalistic, change of leadership from colonialism to independence. And you can see that with his NCNC. I know there are arguments that may form otherwise, but if you look at the antecedents of the Zikist movement, the Mbazulika Amechi, the TOS Benson, the Adeniran Ogunsanya, you see that the Igbos have been at the forefront of nation building in Nigeria. So let me not go far because I have many other colleagues that will contribute. The Igbos see themselves as nation builders, as champions of a new Nigeria until the Civil War. After the Civil War, the story changed.
The story changed after the Civil War. Okay, we'll come back to you on that, but let's give the floor to the immediate past Onyendu chief, Greg, to tell us, how do you think the Igbo man perceives himself in the political landscape of Nigeria? So,
thank you again, Mr. Moderator. I would like to say kudos to my brother and colleague here, Kachuku Okorie, for having taken us back into history of Nigeria, political history of Nigeria. I would like to say that no nation, when I say a nation, I'm talking about the units that make up the Nigerian country, be it the Fulani, the Hausa, the Yoruba, or the Igbos, and all other ethnic groups. I see them as nations. There is no any other nation within the entity or enclave today called Nigeria that has contributed more immensely to the development of the nation we know today as Nigeria than the Igbo man.
okay, that's a very serious one. yeah.
From the brief history you just told us here, you have mentioned names. I wouldn't want to repeat again. But it is in the annals of our history that without the Igbos' active participation, they won't have anything like independence for Nigeria.
Okay.
And having said so, it is pertinent to note that after every effort, painstaking effort was given by those that contributed to that independence, unfortunately, the Igbo man have not risen to expectation. And I want to say here today that we, the Igbos, within the context of Nigeria, politically, are presently overrating ourselves. We are presently overrating ourselves.
Okay, when you say we are overrating ourselves, are you saying that we're not doing more or we're not doing enough to the political system?
Thank you so much. There is no political mechanism within the Igbo nation that could propel the genuine interests of the Igbo man.
I understand you now. Okay, I understand that. Okay, let's hold it there and we'll get back to you. I will ask the incumbent financial secretary of the Igbo Union Dublin, Chief Inoue, to lend his voice on this one. How do you think we as Igbos perceive ourselves in the equation, Nigeria politically?
Thank you very much, moderator. Thank you. The Igbo man, we have been so strong from the beginning, with regard to the politics of our country, Nigeria. I wouldn't want to go to the areas touched by my colleagues already, but the fact is that we lost it somewhere along the line. I would say we lost it because before independence, we were everywhere. We the domination people were talking about, when they talk about domination of the Igbos, it was actually a kind of trying to remember what happened before the independence and after independence. Because just like my colleagues have said here, we were at the forefront for that quest for Nigerian independence. Yeah. And I think we were too nationalistic to compare other tribes.
Like to a fault?
Yeah, to a fault. In the sense that you could find large percentage of Igbos living in other parts of the country where you find other tribes, but you cannot see other tribes, replicate same reciprocity. You understand? Now, I think that was actually why our quest for independence, took some time, because at the end of the day, we were waiting for some other parts of the country that were not even ready for independence. If we had wanted to go our separate way at that point in time, we could have done that. But we said no. If our brothers are, struggling to get to that standard where we could achieve independence, we'll have to wait for them. So we waited for these people, being our Hausa Fulani and Northern brothers. So, but it was quite unfortunate that things happened the way they did during the First Republic. That brought about the coup and counter coup that killed the notable Igbo leaders and military men. And I think it was at that point in time, after the Civil War, we were now seen as a threat in that entity called Nigeria, and we lost it. I think if you look at it holistically, we can say that most of our political leaders at that time failed to do certain things to be able to assure other ethnic groups that we were not there to dominate any group.
Okay.
But I think they failed in that regard.
Okay.
And that was why the reprisal killings and pogrom that started, in the north started. And
I understand. We will get back to it. I think I really understand where you're drifting towards. We'll get back to that, but in the meantime, we'll take a little break.
Yes, okay.
We'll take a little break. When we come back, we'll continue right from that point.
Okay.
Viewers, we are going to take a little break now. I'll get back to you in a short while. Thank you very much for your attention. Thank Hello viewers, we welcome you back to the second segment of this program. The program you're watching is Out Diaspora, and I have introduced the audience before now. And we're going to take a very, very vital question. You see, in Igbo land, there's this concept that people, Igbos, don't like to do things as a group. Everybody wants to do things for himself. And because we see ourselves as Republicans, some argue we see ourselves as Democrats, and so on. But the question I want to now throw to you, Onyendu, this attitude that some people claim that Igbos have, this attitude of me to myself, is it helping us politically as a collectivity, or is it destroying us?
Thanks again, Mr. Moderator. I think that question is a very crucial one at this point, and place where the Igbos have found themselves politically in the Nigerian stream. I would say the every man to himself attitude of the Igbo political elites is not helping matters. It has impinged negatively on our interest as a people and our general living and life expectancy. Now, while we grew up in the villages before they became towns today, we could see mud houses and thatch roofs. And we know that whenever a house is caught or it's burnt down, you had all men rally round to put the mud clay together. Women gather together, go to the stream, get water. They mix, they get that mixture done up, and they get the house erected. And you see the thatch roof done by almost every man in the community, just to help a brother or a relative or a neighbor. Now, even when that was extended to farming, you see people gather during farming seasons. 5, 10 men go to a particular person's farm and they do a credible job.
For the day, yeah.
For the day. But these days, you don't see things like that. You see communities gather together, send somebody, another person's son, to school.
Yeah, that's true. That's
to study. And that was when we got it all right. And whoever such is extended to had that imbued knowledge that much is expected of him back in the society. And for that reason, the Igbo man were able to get it right in the first years before the independence.
So what went wrong?
And immediately after the independence.
So what went wrong politically? Why are we not doing the same? Why are we not replicating the same thing in the political terrain?
Thank you. I want to say that the Igbo nation's problem started immediately after the Civil War. There was a lot of destabilization. Those who were collectively sent to school by their communities or other people that had the muscle to do that, they lost their jobs. And for the fact that they couldn't come back to the community immediately after the war to lend a helping hand that's expected of them, first of all, it becomes a family unit system. And before you know it, from even the family unit system, it became so far individualized in the sense that you're only looking out
For yourself.
for yourself.
And so this also rubbed in on our politics.
And this has rubbed in as far as our politics.
Okay. I just asked you to hold it there because why I'm very, very particular about this question is this. I remember sometime in Nigeria when an Igbo person had the opportunity to ascend the presidency. It was almost, in my own understanding, a done deal. And that was Chief Alex Ikweme. And then his own brother, in Jos, Chief Jim Mobodo, that was what we were told. If it is true or not, I don't know. But it still sinks into our psyche that at the end of the day, it was a singular effort of his own brother that actually made him lost that opportunity. So it then means that we are still doing this business of every man to himself. But the Igbos would say that there's this adage that Igbos would say, and to explain it further, it means that every brother should look out for his own. And number two, people, it's even literally simple. When people come together and urinate at the same time at the same place, you can feel, the earth could feel the vibe of it. And so I'll ask Imomwe to please tell us what you think. Is it really a problem that we're not uniting together in politics, or is it helping us or not?
Thank you very much, moderator. The question you've just asked is destroying the Igbos politically. Because I could still remember, just like my colleague here said, in the days of the old, when we were young, if you have a child in the community or somebody dies in the family, there will be no food cooked in that particular family that lost someone. Relatives, friends, and well-wishers will cook food and bring to that particular bereaved family for at least 1 week.
Quite some time, yeah.
So the communal life of the Igbos, is something to write home about. But I think, like my colleague here said, we lost it. I could say, yeah, partly because of the Civil War. But I think some of us were still kids when that war was fought. Where did we get it wrong? Because I could still tell you that today, in most towns and cities outside Igbo land, most Igbo communities hold their town union meetings, unlike other ethnic groups. You understand me? We do things together. But when it comes to politics, most people will tell you, no, I am not interested.
or I just need to do my business. But one thing we have always forgotten is that the policy or your non-participation in politics, you are actually harming yourself. We Igbos, we are harming ourselves. Because the policy of one politician that you actually participated in, either by act of omission
or commission
for not participating in politics, that made that individual to get into power, one policy will destroy whatever you think you are doing as a business.
Okay, so
I think it is destroying us.
Yeah.
And the earlier we begin to do like other ethnic groups in trying to make sure that we participate actively in politics. Like now, you see people going to register for PVC. Most of our young men and women are not ready to do that. They will tell you, no, I am not a politician. You don't need to be a politician to have your PVC. It is your legitimate right to be able to choose who is going to represent you at any level, be it the local government council to the Senate or the presidency. So the Igbos need to be actively involved in what we do politically in Nigeria so that we can be able to be part of that process to bring credible individuals that could go out there to represent the Igbos at every levels of government.
I really thank you for this. Why I'm saying I thank you is because this program is not only to identify problems, it is also a resolution one to solve, to find solutions to this problem. And you just mentioned one. I'll tell you right away, my community in Abatete in Anambra State, the community has mobilized so well when it comes to this registration. And they are almost making it a law that every single person that is 18 years must, as a matter of sense of duty, own this card. And I'm getting feelers that it is really, a game changer for the community. So if every other town can replicate such a gesture or such a situation, I think that would be a very positive plus for us. So in the same vein, I'll be asking Okachukwu, let's not just be talking about what happens. What do you think? If you are a doctor and you're asked to X-ray, how do you think this will be solved? If it is true, we're all agreed that we are always individualizing our politics. How do we turn it around?
Yeah, first we can turn it around through the most important factor, what Barrister almost said, conscientizing our people. But before then, I wouldn't condescend to the fact that Igbos are not united. Igbos are united, and there are examples to show about that. Before the independence period, pre-independence era, Igbos showed that by the fact that they were in every nook and corner of Nigeria, it shows that they can easily mobilize. For the fact that Zeke came back, galvanized not only the nationalistic struggle for Nigeria's independence, and let us not forget that Zeke was at that time the leader of the Igbo State Union. And the Igbo State Union was very powerful during that period, though there are still some aspects of arrogance at that time. But Igbos have always wanted to do it well. They've always wanted to do things well. That is why they emerge in any field they find themselves. That is why they go to.
Sorry, Mr. Okachukwu, if I may please make a point here.
Yeah, please do.
The analysis you're giving us here is the 20th century analysis. But we're talking of the Igbo man in the 21st century.
Cool.
We are in no doubt that the Igbos had all these associations pre-independence, which helped them to a great extent.
Build.
Now, the much they were able to achieve within that same period, have we gone that far?
Ourselves.
At this present time, we still with the existence of those very associations on ground.
I'm still coming to that.
We're looking at the association and we are saying that something is wrong, something is amiss.
Okay.
And that's what we're going to.
Okay.
Well, I haven't finished my point before my leader took my time. But With due regards, they said before you move forward, you have to look at where you started your journey. Igbos have always been united, and there are calculated attempts to disunite Igbo in the scheme of things, political scheme of things in Nigeria. I decided to give those points to tell you, to buttress,
to drive
that,
home,
yeah, Igbos are always united. But the fact that the attitude of the Igbos when it comes to making sure that things get done, and it brings them to the limelight, and it brings them to the top of the pack. And when it brings them to there are bound to be jealousy, there are bound to, and that was what caused the genocide. I know they haven't tagged the genocide, the killings, the massacre in the north and in parts of the west. And after the Civil War, mind you, there are policies, conspiracies that have been targeted at the Igbos. You mustn't fail to recognize the fact that a new elite emerged among the Igbos. Those who led the Civil War were ostracized from the scheme of things.
I understand, my brother, I understand what you're trying to say here, or the aspect I want you to tell me what you really think is this.
Yeah.
In the scheme of things,
Yeah.
how are we faring? Is the mentality of the Igbo man, because I know this is the mentality that is inherent in us as of today. Is it helping us or is it destroying us? And then how can we change all that?
It's not destroying us. There's a positive and negative side of it.
Okay.
The positive side of it is our republicanness makes us, it gives us the drive. We have the natural drive to success. On the other side, like I said, we have a new elite now that doesn't have the interest of the people at heart. Okay, after the war, those who led at the forefront of the war were ostracized. Okay, look at the Igbo political champions today. Most of them rigged their way into elections. We never voted them. If you are voted by the people, if you have the mandate of the people, you cannot bring down the people. You will always work for them. I can call names. Rochas Okorocha today in Imo State. Don't cut me. This is my point. He came back second election because Muhammadu Buhari won election. He wouldn't have even come back. The first time he came back was because Hakim was deemed to be arrogant,
yes,
and that there was a propaganda he flogged a priest. And you mustn't forget that this is the bastion of Catholicism in Igbo land. So it helps that. It helps people, new elite, coming in, taking charge of things, and making sure that our collective goals are not
we are digressing too far.
The truth of the matter is that this topic, you can take it anywhere, anyhow.
Yeah, exactly.
But I just want us, I just want us to be able to drive home something so that when people listen, they'll be able to get some substance.
Yeah.
So on that note again, sorry to cut you short, Chief Onwe, we're going to go on another short break. When we come back, we'll take it right from where we stopped. Viewers, give us a few minutes and we'll back to you. Thank you very much.
Siamo bono muoni mo makana pumoni mo yemme kwa maka if you see me call me oni mo makana pumoni mo yemme kwa maka.
Okay, viewers, we welcome you back to the third segment of our program. You know the program already is Speak Out Diaspora. We're handling very, very important. Some people will think it's a sensitive issue, but amongst ourselves, we'll just say it's important. And so I will invite Imam to tell us what he thinks is the way forward. How do we address this issue where we say that Igbos are just doing things every man to himself and God for us all?
Thank you very much, moderator. I think the best way to go about this is for us to, bring that energy that we are, using to organize most of the community-based associations wherever we are. Even in Ireland here, we do have so many community-based associations, and we still have Igbo Union. That is the umbrella body of all the Igbos in Ireland. If the Igbos could do all this, I think it is just that interest let the Igbos understand that we need to have that political interest for us to move forward as a people. Because if we can bring all those energy together, you understand, we can now be able to put those our detractors to shame that say the Igbos don't like themselves. The Igbos love themselves. And I think the moment we begin to understand that the other ethnic groups are playing the ethnic card when it comes to politics, and we begin to mobilize our people towards that same goal for us to be able to be united and solid together to be able to achieve our political objectives.
Okay, so can I say this now? The Yorubas have recently appointed Gani Adams as the Oreona Kakanfo of the Yoruba land. I hope you know what that means.
Yes.
The Hausas, they have the Sultan of Sokoto. He controls. Who is the Igbo man? One single Igbo man that you will call, who will give us a sense of direction and we'll all listen to him.
Yeah, I think that would be a very big problem because of our republican nature. We don't have the kind of, monarchy
When
that
you say,
is
I'm not
existing.
sure, when you say it's going to be a problem,
Yes.
so if we continue the way we're going, because we are solving problem here now,
Yes.
if we continue the way we're going, I want this house to be able to, when we arise, people will be able to buy something.
Thank you.
To go home with something.
Yeah.
So if we continue that way, by saying we are Republicans, so everybody to himself, will it eventually help us to
No,
improve?
it will not help us. What I'm saying here now is this. It's like, the problem we have in Igbo land is this. If we are now saying, okay, the Igbos should bring one person and make him the general in Igbo land, like the Yorubas have done with Gani Adams. The problem now that will be on the table is, where is that general going to come from?
But that
because everybody,
Gani Adams is from a particular tribe.
I understand.
He's supposed
But
to be
for the
from a
fact,
particular tribe.
the Yorubas, they've had that kind of monarchy for years.
Fine.
So they understand what it means to queue into an Oba that rules from Oyo. So every Yoruba man will say that the Oba from Oyo said this to his subject, and his word is an order, is a law. Such a thing may not work in Igbo land, has never worked in Igbo land.
What would work, Corey? What would work?
What will work for us, one, is genuine leadership, because the Igbo believe in this proverb that says, Anima Okoroga Gamba reform. We know who is an ebullient representative of our people. Even in what we do, we know who is who. But like I said, we don't have good leaders representing us at the moment. So when you don't have good leaders, Igbos are not the kind of people. We don't practice monarchical system of government or monarchical. It's not. These things are imposed on us. That's why you have thousands of traditional rulers everywhere. In as much as we do have respect for them, based on the fact that the government today demands respect for them from us, in our hearts, we know who is our leader. When you have the people's interest at heart, people will follow you. These things are not. But what we need to start preaching to our people, new form of political maturity, because of the fact that after the Civil War, people are more interested now in the economic goal, because they lost a lot. You understand? All those things has caused a lot of problems for us. Political apathy. We need to reorientize our people, conscientize them politically, and you see us go. When the chiefs are down, we always come together. We exercise this during the Civil War. We came together on issues that borders on Igbo's collective interest. The masses come together, but our bourgeoisie, the new elite, which I've talked about, they're not representing us.
Okay, thank you very much, Chief Ume. What do you think? I am asking for solution now. I've given an example how others are stationing themselves, and they're making very, very monumental progress. What do you think? Because Chief Onwe has given us a clear example of, even here in Ireland, how we have structure where there are town unions and or state associations and other clubs, but they are all keen and accepting the Igbo Union Dublin as the command center or as the command chain. So that is what is working here. Tell us in your own terms what you think the Igbos will do.
Thank you, Mr. Moderator. I want to unequivocally state here that 1 million town unions is not what, at this present state, that will take us to the political stage that the Igbos envisage themselves to be. Because what I see in all these our present town unions or associations is where people are afraid if they die, how do they get home and get buried? And as long as that is the major benefit that drives people to come to the associations, then we haven't looked far enough. Now, in every part of the Nigerian region, west, north, call it, you find it out somebody who is born in Kaduna State or whose parents originated from Bauchi State can take up political positions in Kano State.
Very well.
As well as in Kaduna State or even in Borno State. Same goes for the West in Nigeria. The present governor of Lagos State, the original parents are from Ekiti State.
Yeah, they are from Ekiti.
His predecessor,
The same
Fashola, from Osun State.
Osun State, yeah, Osun State, yeah.
The Jagaban of Yoruba politics,
Himself.
Asiwaju Bola Tinubu, is from Ekiti State. Aregbesola, who is the present governor of Osun State, was a commissioner in Lagos State.
So they cross-fertilize.
They cross-fertilize. And the same thing, semblance you see in the West, happens in the North.
So what do we do?
Now, the issue is this. And let's not forget that at a point, these states were divided. They had, like Oyo State, that got Osun State created out of Oyo State. Yeah, and even at that point of creation, you see the mass civil servant from Oyo that originated from Osun State had to go back to Osun State to stabilize the departments and running of the new state. In the East, similar thing happened. You found out that Abia State created, people from Imo had to do what? People from Abia State had to go to Abia State, and you found out that the Imo government started like sending workers who are of Abia origin out of their workforce. Similar thing was experienced between Anambra and Enugu State. But I'm telling you that same thing happened between Oyo State and Osun State. The same thing happened between Katsina State and Kano State.
And so,
as it is, even with that history, you can still see that a Katsina-born person
they are cooperating well.
Can go to Kaduna and vie for a political position. And Osun State origin can go to Lagos State and become a senator.
I understand that.
Now,
what I'm asking you,
and even in our own,
can you profile a solution as an Igbo man?
Thank you.
Yeah, please.
Now, in as much as we, the Igbo man, cannot really see ourselves as one, see you from Abatete in Anambra State, and you can vie for position in any state. That's near impossible. We are 10 steps, if not 100 steps, behind the South and the North politically.
So your solution is that, first of all, we need to unite.
First of all, we need to unite.
Chief Onwe, how do we unite?
Excuse me. And unity goes in many forms.
Okay.
Look at it. the educated elites of the Igbo nation are actually the major problem we have when it comes to politics.
I agree.
You see, the artisans and the traders, that's why many of them will not register for PVC. Because they look at it like, at the end of the day, what do we get? They're all just after their what? Their daily meal and business. Because the educated elites have failed to go back to those traders among ourselves, artisans among ourselves, to make them feel that they are important in the economy of the state itself. And when there is such apathy, you cannot expect them to come and give what they are not knowledgeable about. We owe it a duty to educate.
Good. Now you're
Good, because almost every family that you see graduates in the southeast, there is one trader that contributed to his success. One way or the other, that paid part of his school fees. So if after graduating, your master's degree, you get your good job, and you now see that trader as an ordinary amateur, and at the slightest provocation, you call him uneducated. And what, after having given you so much, how have you come back to also take him up the scale?
Some people have said that we need to go back to our God. When I say God, some say we need to go back to our tradition. Some people have said, what I'm asking you panel this afternoon is, can you tell me in very, very concrete terms, like say one, I'll give you an example now. People say we need to go back to, we have sinned and fallen short of the glory of God, our ancestors and all that. Do we embrace that? Some people have said that what we need to do to change this scenario is to go back and group by group, like myself, I insist. Like you give an example, somebody who trains somebody in school. You will see that the person who is under you must understand that this is an urgent call, a clarion call, and we go from that stage to the central stage until we sensitize ourselves and take it serious. You said something that is very, very important, and I'm taking it home. You said, like here in Ireland, most of us who join these community-based groups are doing so only.
I disagree with him.
You disagree?
I disagree with him in that.
Okay,
again.
tell me.
Because if you go back to Nigeria, you still find the same thing we do here in every community. In fact, in my own kindred, you have to be represented even though I am here. For all these years I am here, my uncle back home pays my dues. Excuse me. Now, you go to Enugu, and from Enugu to my hometown is about 20-30 minutes drive. Do you understand?
Yeah.
You still have unions, town unions in Enugu town. People from the same state living in Enugu city. So it has nothing, excuse me, it has nothing, it has nothing to do with taking somebody's body back home. It is about, I'm coming, it is about communal service. It is about being in midst of your people and doing things together. Excuse me, that is unity. Now, what I am saying, I've said here before, is that we should replicate those things we do in our various communities, associations. You understand me? And bring it to bear.
How do we
on the political front?
How do we recall people
because
when they are not?
Now, when people, you see, when they're talking about our people not actively participating in politics, it is just about greed. I am telling you, greed. It has nothing to do with voters' apathy or culture. No, the fact still remains that we are too greedy, because if you talk about poverty in that country called Nigeria, I think it's so predominant in the north.
Elsewhere, yeah.
You understand me? But in the north, I can tell you, if I go to the northern part of, if I'm from there and I want to contest for any elective post, you understand me? And it is announced in my community, you understand me, that I'm going to stand for a particular elective position. People that know me, artisans, Okada riders, will go and bring my posters with their own money and laminate them and put them on their neck and on their motorbike. Same thing can never be done in Igbo land. If I should go home today now to tell my people that I want to contest for any elective post, I can tell you, my uncles, my brothers, they will call me. Do you know the first thing they would like to know from me?
How much you have.
How much did you come back with for this elective position you are about to vie for? Do you understand? They're only interested in the monetary aspect of it.
And so very simple.
Now,
when you come in, then
now
you start to
repay wherever you got that money from.
Yeah, I understand.
Do you understand me? So that is why the elite, when they have paid so much price to get to where they are, do you understand me? They don't need to look at you anymore because they have paid you at the source before they became what they are. So why should they talk about putting things on ground for you to see?
How do we change that?
How we are going to change this is to remove monetizing everything in Igbo land. We have monetized almost everything. Marriage, politics, everything has been monetized in
Point
Igbo
of
land.
direction, every situation politically within Nigeria has been monetized. So it's not just in Igbo land alone.
Thank you, but I can tell you that the level of such monetization in Igbo land is outrageous.
Okay, let's hold it there. The level is outrageous in Igbo land, and some people say it is all over the nation. We'll come back after this break and we'll conclude this topic. Is that okay?
Thank you.
Thank you very much, listeners. I hope you are enjoying what you are saying, what you are hearing so far. This program is meant to educate us. It is meant to provide solutions to the teething problem of an Igbo man in the political equation of Nigeria. And I believe that as we go on, we'll soon open up a space for people to contribute ideas, topics, and suggestions towards this, because this is a melting point for the Igbo man, and that's why we call it Speak Out Diaspora. Thank you very much for Hello listeners, I am still Chudi Emechita, and you are still tuned to the segment that speaks out in diaspora, and we are still discussing issues that concern the Igbo man, that concerns Nigeria, and concerns every person that is here on planet Earth. And we still have on the panel our discussants. We have Chief Omwe, we have Chief Ume, and we have Chief Okori. Who says it's not a chief, but the cap is wearing the pig's strength. Okachukwu Okori. Okay, I'll leave it at that. So let's start with you. I saw you asking to make a contribution in the last session. Let's start with you. What do you think?
About what?
What do you want to tell us about the Igbo man? What is your solution? We have said there are so many problems politically. What are you going to prefer as solution for the Igbo man to take center stage in Nigerian politics?
The solution is a greater political participation, massive investment in politics. We must begin to invest in politics. We can't just keep complaining and complaining and complaining without getting involved. For instance, when you talk about manufacturing, as in the little manufacturing we do in Nigeria, the bulk of the manufacturers are Igbos. The bulk of the exporters and importers are Igbos. But unfortunately, most time they keep complaining. My container is seized. There are obnoxious laws targeted at dealing with them by even minor civil servants who are part of the conspiracies. But if you are not in the political corridor, political process, you cannot affect change or policies that affect your business growth or affect your community or things like that. The Igbos must begin to come together, especially those who have the wherewithal. And my colleague said something that when you want to serve, they'll be looking at how deep your pocket is. These are part of the things. It makes genuine people, servants, shy away from coming into politics. I myself, as an example, recently there have been pressure from those who know my antecedents to come and vie for elections. But I know a lot of proposals have been coming in to me on how to siphon money from me. They are thinking that I'm a millionaire, I'm basking in stupendous wealth and like that. People are asking me how much I hope you have a war chest to vie for this. And you know, if you lack the courage, you will chicken out. So these are the things that will make us get a new political reorientation for our people. And by so doing that, we begin to solve some of our problems. I don't want to go there because of want of time. That is where I have problems with the current agitation. I mean, the group that is championing the agitation at the moment, the IPOB. I feel if the strength they have can be channeled politically, it can go a long way, because whatever we think, we must bring it down. What is workable? What is workable? If you think it's violence, are we prepared for that? If you think on the other way, are we prepared for that? These are the problems we had during the Civil War. Yes, okay. We had problems, but we were not ready. We were not prepared to win.
Okay, can I say something? Like I'm saying again, it appears we all have accepted that something is wrong.
Yeah.
It all appears that we all accepted that something needs to be done.
Yeah.
And now we're looking at what's going to be done. I'll give you a simple example, and you tell me what you think. For instance, one of our discussants, Chief Ome, said that in the past, a community pays the school fees for one single individual.
Yes.
With every courage and all that, and pride, they pay. And this their son is sponsored by the community. I'm thinking as well, what do you think? That if, like, say, Igbo Union Dublin decides to say, listen, we are not asking Onwe to pay his way into politics. We are sponsoring Onwe. Onwe will now remember that it's not a single godfather that's sponsoring that is going to be kissing his ring every single day. That is a community. So can we say that it could be a solution for communities to be bringing out an individual, not the individual bringing out himself to the community? When election is to be vied for, the community on its own will decide and say, you said in Igbo that now the community knows the child that will go out and represent them well. So can't the community be the one sourcing and deciding, and not the other way around? What do you think? I'm just saying, could this be a solution as well?
Your suggestion is nice, but it's tough because we have individual differences. My leader here, Chief Greg, may want to represent us, that the community on the other hand may think he is not in the best position to do that. And sometimes we even keep quiet. Some of us might be afraid to tell him the truth because of his maybe personal strength and things like you have to check all those things. But what the most important thing is demonetizing the political process in Igbo land. And like my colleague said, if we can do that, if we cannot be attaching too much importance on the financial war chest our intending leaders do have, then you see many people. We have Igbos when it matters. Igbos have people all across the world who are contributing in nation building.
Thank you very much. We are wrapping it up now. I will want to get your final statement, so I'll start with the Onyendu, the previous Onyendu of Igbo Union Dublin, Chief Greg Ome. What is your closing statement in everything we have said today?
Thank you so much. I think I want to touch on what my colleague Chief Ome said, based on greed of the Igbo man. I don't want to see the Igbo man as greedy, but I don't want to see an Igbo man as a survivalist, because after the war, we faced a lot of death that without the propensity and the urge to survive, we will not be where we are today, and we won't even be talking of anything like an Igbo nation. So that situation led to that push for everybody to want to do what? Go extra mile to succeed. And even the system where we found ourselves, even during the war and after the war, has become worse by the day, that it is crafted in a way to undo the Igbo man. So the only thing that gives us the leverage is that ingenuity to fight harder for survival. And when that becomes a way of life, you cannot but see people who want to go all out to do what? To fight for something they believe in. And when they eventually get it, they want to do what? They want to secure and guard it.
Okay.
So I don't see that as greed in any form. Because before the war and in the old system of things in Igbo land, you see at every year, in every harvest, you see people who have made so well in the yam farming and cassava farming. You see them being able to, truthfully, take part of their produce and give it out freely.
All right.
Where is that done if it's not in Igbo land?
Thank you.
So how could you say such people are greedy?
Thank you very much.
Now, I want to touch on IPOB issue.
We don't have much time. Just one statement and we are done for your closing statement because we don't have much time.
On iPod, I'm actually closing up now. And on iPod modality, I want to say iPod, if we all were members of iPod or saw it necessary to have become part of iPod, we will have made a difference, having airing our voices and let it air at the initial stage when it just started. We cannot come now and start blaming all the people that got involved in IPOB and every other thing they put in to even get it to where it was. And up to today, IPOB is still the most successful,
relevant one.
Relevant, would I say, and freedom-seeking association as it is in Nigeria.
Thank you very much. Chifonwe.
Thank you very much, moderator. I just want to touch on the issue of IPOB briefly. I think it's wrong for him to say some people did not, actually say something at the initial stage. I spoke to the leader of IPOB in this country. I just gave him one question, and he was so rude on radio that day. You can go and verify that. When you have a leader that cannot even answer simple questions, to be able to persuade people that have that doubt, to be able to cue into what he is actually doing, it is purely wrong. And I'm here to say that some of us spoke at the right time, but we were not listened to. Thank you very much in that regard. And when we talk about the war and effect on the Igbo man about greed, I think some of us were still too young as at the time that war was fought. And it is too bad for us to always do what? Put the blame or the kind of, zeal or quest to acquire wealth by all means by the Igbos as a result or as the effect of war. Now, if I am going to contest for any political post, and my elder brothers and my uncles are asking me to tell them how deep my pocket is, that is the effect of the civil war, isn't it? I think we can continue to blame the civil war on the decisions we have chosen to take. The Northerners, let me tell you, most of the elites everywhere in the country, they don't care about the masses, whether in Igbo land, in Yoruba land, and in the north. And they are still surviving. They are not as eager to make it either by hook or crook. Do you understand me? So we should begin to sensitize our people, to tell them that, I think we used to say in those good old days that Ezigbo afa ka ego. I think we have lost it. This time around is Ezigbo ego ka afa. I think it is the other way around. Thank you very much.
I still feel the advice is everywhere.
Yeah, okay. So Chief Okori.
In addendum to what Chief Onwe said, he made a very important remark on this greed. Likewise, my former leader, because let us face the fact there's greed among our new elites now. Example of showing this greed, we saw what happened during the Tokoto crisis. That's certain elites were touched, their properties and things like that. Even some of them were executed by the military government at that time. So it shows the extent of greed, and it's continued up to this day. Our political elites They've been basking in that greed. Look at what is happening in Imo State. They've confiscated people's land, you know, land grabbing here and there, and they're doing it in broad daylight under this democracy, and people are not doing anything. So we must look at that. Then I have to touch about the weakness of our generation. This youth, the youth of this day, we are very, very weak. Because when we talk, our fathers fought in the Civil War, at least they made attempts to get us back, in as much as the war wasn't successful. You know, but they made attempts. Our generation is not doing anything. Then, on one hand, political apathy, on the other hand, everything. That is what brought out IPOB. Yes, I'm not here to criticize IPOB. IPOB has their good side and bad side. But we must begin to look at deeper things, why we should resuscitate our mind, especially the young. If the youth don't do anything, then we're in trouble. Then spirituality, you talked about spirituality. We still have to look at spirituality. Look, the Igbos believe in God. This is very, very important. And on this spirituality, where I want to point out, we see we've borrowed certain things we are not used to. You know, lies, ritualism. We can now do things to make money. In that race, rat race, to acquire wealth, we are doing a lot of things. You see people killing. These things are not part of our system before. So we have to have recourse back to our maker and back to our norms and culture.
Thank you very much. I really appreciate this discussion today. I have learned something myself, and I have learned loads as well. And on that note, viewers, we thank you very much for having found time to spend with us. We believe you have heard our people. They have spoken their minds. Nobody here was cajoled to say anything. They have spoken their minds, and that is the Igbo man for you. We believe that as time goes on, we'll be able to dissect other topical issues that concern the Igbo man, that concerns Nigeria. But today you have had a verdict yourself. We also will ask you at some point to consider bringing in your own topics to us. This program is open for sponsorship. We were surprised that only after the first edition, somebody had already sponsored this one. And the person that sponsored this one is a member of the IUD. His name is Gode Anizu. He is the PRO of IUD, Igbo Union Dublin. He sponsored this very segment today. And we're still calling for sponsorship, because for this thing to happen, people will really have to commit financially as we're committing our time to it. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen, our tuning viewers all over the world. We hope to see you again soon. And God bless us all. Thank you very much for coming.
Thank you so much.
Anywhere I enter, they call me Onibo.